Have you ever tracked a scene and not had a ground plane and kind of had trouble orienting where the camera should be and how to kind of, properly recreate what you saw on the day in Nuke or wherever you're at? If so, that's a pretty easy fix, because even though I can't set the ground plane using traditional methods, I can do it with using the X, Y, and Z axis and defining some coordinates so that we're able to tell Nuke where we should, kind of orient the camera. So let's just do a quick track. I'm gonna do camera tracker, and I'll put this up to 600, and then we'll just go ahead and track. I'm not entering anything else. It's not really needed for this exercise. The good news is everything you do leading up to where you set the ground plane is exactly the same. The only difference is how we set the ground plane is going to be different, since we see no ground, but would still like the camera to be positioned in the correct space. So I have a track. We need to solve the scene. Everything is solved, but let's go ahead and go to our auto track and refine this down a little bit. So I'm going to take this max error down to 1.5. I'm going to take our max track error to 1.5, take the max error down to 2, and then I want to delete the unsolved trackers and delete the rejected trackers. Then I want to refine down just a little bit more. So now we're at 0.63, which is more than satisfactory for what we're doing today. And then I'll just delete these rejected ones. 0.62, even better. So I have what we'll call our track, but again, I don't have the camera in yet or anything oriented. Just to show you the problem, if I solve the scene with nothing and create our camera, what you'll see is the track itself is good and the solve itself is good, but unfortunately the camera's in the wrong position, because as you know from seeing this footage, we're kind of like looking up at this shot, and now when we see this scene, Nuke is looking at this building dead on as if the building itself is tilted, and that can be quite frustrating and a problem and just not true to life. So to solve that, let's go ahead and just delete this, because I want to show you what we're doing and what we can do to fix this. So in this particular case, you just need to define what's kind of on your x-axis and your y-axis. You could do z-axis too if you have it, but I don't really know exactly the z. It's not like I'm looking down a long corridor. So in this case, X and Y is all I need to kind of figure out where the camera is going to be. So I know that this sign is probably not like too warped. It doesn't, and so I feel comfortable saying that like this point and this point right here can be on our x-axis. So we're just gonna set that to X. I just selected 2 points, right-clicked, ground plane, set to X. Now, you could do multiple, you can do a group. It doesn't fully matter. I mean, you might get varied results, but I find that just a couple points is all you really need for it to identify what axes you're on. So now I've selected one more. Here's my second point. Again, I'm gonna right-click, ground plane, and this will be my y-axis. And now if I do a create scene, and go into my 3D view, I am now oriented properly. So the camera is looking up, the building itself is straight, and that kind of solves this issue, and I can go about my business. Now, the grid is at the bottom just because this, the origin I didn't set, but that's easy enough to do as well. It's a little bit different since I don't have the ground plane, so it's going to be just set to wherever I feel like I want the kind of the nexus of the scene to be. So in this particular case, maybe it would be this point right here, or it could be down at the bottom if I'm trying to kind of get the grid out of the way. So here, actually, let's just do it right here. So we'll do ground plane, set origin, and now we have the origin kind of sitting at the bottom of the 3D point cloud, which I think could also be really helpful. So now you've kind of made this assumption that the bottom of the building, or what you can see in the building, is kind of your floor. But everything else should line up, and it's just as easy as setting a few coordinates and letting Nuke kind of figure out the rest. I hope this helps, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. Bye.